welcome to another review on the Great Build YouTube channel. Today we're going to be looking at the set called the Crystal King, which released for $70 in the US and was for the Ninjago Crystallized Wave. This set contains a total of 5 minifigures and one massive build. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Ninjago or haven't watched the show, this video does not contain spoilers, but just know that the Crystal King in this video is accurate and also the least accurate to the show all at the same time. Now let's start with the most accurate part of the builds here. Here's the giant mech for the Crystal King, and I say mech because you can make the Crystal King ride the mech in this set. You can see that starting on the body here, you can see that there's a rib cage that can be opened up to reveal a translucent windshield. Now it's hard to see in there, but the moment I lift up the windshield, you'll see that the Crystal King has a minifigure of himself sitting inside the Crystal King mech. So, we'll take a look at that minifigure later. It's just a fun feature to store a minifigure inside the build and make it more fun to play with. Moving on to the arms, you can see that the top of the arms have some EvoMech system cockpit pieces, along with some more stickered elements on the sides to add more detail. They're on a rigid Technic joint at the shoulder, and at the elbow they have a large ball joint, and a mini Mixel ball joint at the wrist, so there's a lot of posability here. You can see that he also comes with this humongous staff that can be placed in either hand of the character, with this large pink piece that was released specifically for the Crystallized Wave. You can see that the hand more clearly when we bend all the figures open and take out the weapon. This hand features a total of 4 fingers on each hand that can be bent in and out, and they have giant claw pieces attached to them, making them look very ominous and scary. So that makes this build seem very much like a villain build, which it is, and we don't get a lot of those for Ninjago. Moving on to the head for a sec here, you can see that the head barely even fits in the top of the screen here. This is likely because the head for this set is probably one of the most interesting parts of the set because it's so tall, but it's hinged on a mini ball joint and a rigid Technic hinge, so that you can bend the head in whatever way you want. And you can see that they're using a hot dog piece and some claw pieces to create the illusion of eyes inside the mech. You can also see there's crystals on the crown up here, and the gray patterning that goes all the way around the mech adds some real good detail. Now moving to the back of this mech for the other good part of this mech, you can see that it has wings. These wings use some of the small crystal pieces and the large crystal pieces released for this wave, and add some very much needed build aesthetics to this build. Now, one thing I'd like to mention about this is that these wings are sometimes fragile and tend to fall off a little bit, so you've got to watch how those work, but it's still a good part of the build for detail. You also get 6 of these Nexonite shield pieces from the wings here in dark blue, which is hard to get color for Nexonite shields as of lately, so it's always good to see you get them there. Again, there's some more nice detailing of stickers that go all the way down the back, and they move on to the tail. The tail has a rigid hinge and then a bunch of mixel joints, so you can bend the tail however you want. There's also a crystal piece on top of the tail. Moving on to the legs, the front legs here are very rigid, and you can't even move them for the most part, but they use the EvoMech joints from the Core Wave in purple. So that's a neat recolor for you to get them. I'm sure people have come up with some custom ideas to use these parts in. Additionally, the feet here have posable toes, which is something really cool, and they're very sturdy as well, and they're connected on ball joints, so you can move them around a bit. The back legs are slightly more versatile because you can bend them at the limb to the body as well as the ball joint to the foot. Back feet in this set for the mech build of the Crystal King are the same as the front. Now, this build is also using a very unique style of build where the mech itself is built on a very odd set of hinges. So you can't move the body, but it is set at an angle, which makes it look very cool. Now let's take a look at the minifigures for this set. We'll start with the least canon minifigure of this set, which happens to be the Crystal King himself. This minifigure of the Crystal King is probably the worst Crystal King minifigure of the entire wave of Ninjago sets that we've gotten. He has these weird horn pieces instead of his large horn pieces attached to the helmet, and there might be something obvious to Ninjago fans here. This minifigure lacks the second set of arms that he would need in order to get this minifigure to be accurate to the show. However, you can still move the mask up and see the Overlord's scary little face in there. And in addition to all of that, this minifigure still has just as much detail as the other Overlord, aside from the addition of the other two arms. Next minifigure we'll look at, this is a minifigure for the Brute variety of Vengestone Warriors. This minifigure is different from other Vengestone Warriors because he has two translucent pink arms instead of one, and different from other Vengestone Warrior Brutes because he also contains a chest piece, which is used for the Vengestone Generals. I guess you could say this one is a Vengestone General of the Vengestone Warriors. He includes a double-wielded... I guess you could say it's a double-wielded sword using the new crystal pieces that they released for this wave. You also get a generic Vengestone Guard. These will be showing up in a lot of my future reviews, and I've reviewed them in the Golden Ultra Dragon review, so go and check that out if you want to learn more about these guys. They're basically just a simplified version of the Brute. Now for the good guy here in the set, we get an exclusive version of Lloyd. This version of Lloyd is the one that's accurate to the show. He also includes his special sword, and a sword to hook around the back. However, I don't have that in right now, just so you can see the pure detail of the minifigure itself. It has some gold details, but doesn't have a gold helmet like the other Golden Ninja do. And finally, we have a minifigure that's exclusive to this set. However, I'll be reviewing this minifigure of Harumi as the Crystal General on my Minifigure Thursdays of this previous week's video. So go ahead and check that out before watching this review. Now, overall, what are my final opinions on this set? It's humongous, and it probably deserves more credit than it gets, because for $70, this is actually a lot to get by today's standards, especially since LEGO started making their sets more expensive. So, $70 worth for something like this is a great deal. You also get 5 minifigures, albeit one of them's actually pretty not that great because of its not canon-like appearance. But you also must consider that this mech is one of the more important aspects of the show later on without giving spoilers. So, I hope you all enjoyed this review. I highly would request you pick up this set out of all the crystallized sets. If you pick this set and the Golden Ultra Dragon up, you'd have all the minifigures you'll need for this wave, period, unless you want the Crystal Generals as well. So, I hope you all enjoyed this review. Like and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be doing reviews of all 4 of the Golden Dragon vehicles over the next couple of weeks. So I hope you return for those videos, and have a great day. Hello everyone, this is Locke and I, and welcome to another review on the Gray Build YouTube channel. Today we're going to be looking at the set called the Crystal King.